Welcome to the live world, everyone. I and Al are the only two that have actually experienced this joy. I'm Adam, and with us are three newbies to this kind of experience.
I'm the Diopsid, and I'm ready for some mazes and monsters, which I've said at least 3 times on this channel so far.
I am Mrs. Diopsid. Are you ready for the big game? Because I don't like football, that's why we're here. None of us like it.
And I am Greg, the master of nothing, and skilled at jack shit.
Well, hey, being a jackass of all trades and master of none's at least something.
Anyway,
I am Al.
Sorry.
You forgot me, for Christ's sakes.
No, I mentioned you.
You mentioned me, but I didn't get an introduction, you asshole. Anyway, yeah, I'm Alabaster Unicorn, and we're gonna have quite a magical time.
Like I said, how's it feel for you three to be alive? We can't erase this shit. It's sticking.
Just like reality.
Speaking of embarrassments that can't go away, this is this is the second episode of Autistic Analysis using different books across the 3.5 lineage, which is a massive one. Titanic.
It's what we call a metric fuck ton. They've actually weighed it at one point. That's what it weighed.
Yeah.
For those who want more technical aspect, over the course of 3.0 and 3.5, they produced a large, about double the number of content than all the other editions combined had.
Oh yeah.
And for you newbies, not even 5th edition has this much.
And it probably won't have that much.
Yeah, because the big thing about 3.5 is they release like 3 or 4 books every month.
On top of that, 3.5 also had a lot of third-party publishers because of the open D20 license.
Yep.
You don't get that with 4 or 5th.
Though, to be fair, it did bite them in the back eventually, because that's why Pathfinder is allowed to exist legally.
Much to their frustration and annoyance. And speaking of frustration and annoyance, the DM's Guide. The book itself is actually pretty good, especially for a person who's never really DM'd before and needs like good ideas and hints. But what it does is it introduces prestige classes. This is kind of the first time they're brought back from the 2nd edition AD&D. And this is early in the 3.5 development cycle, so there's a lot of early wonkiness to it.
Yep. To give you an idea, all the classes seen in the Dungeons & Masters Guide were previously in splat books for 3.0. They just grabbed whichever ones they thought were the coolest and slapped them all in the core book.
The problem is we're going to get what we call in the official business an infinite death of fucking horseshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of true neighbor to your classes. Just as a spoiler, you'll see why.
Oh god, I'm still having more flashbacks to some of them. In fact, actually, the first thing that gives me nightmares is right here. It's right here. It's my first nightmare. The first nightmare of many. The fucking Arcane Archer.
What's with the hair?
What's with the ears?
Yeah.
It's an elf.
No,
That's
elf
but
ears
look how high up.
look like that.
They stick up more like horns.
It looks like a shaved Khajiit.
Yeah.
Oh,
oh my gosh, you're right.
It's a sphinx.
Also,
it's a sphinx Khajiit.
Yeah, like...
Also, why does she have a top knot like that? It's going through her helmets, for goodness sakes.
I don't know, but
Makes it harder to take the helmet off.
And actually, just to allow everyone to witness the infinite glory of this, behold the nightmare that is the Arcane Archer in true flesh.
Also, is she just juggling that bow on her finger?
Yeah, to show that she's just that good.
But this class just isn't that good at all.
Oh god, it isn't.
No. You see, it really is. It's not that it's bad. It's just that you're really dumb.
honestly, what makes this better than like just a basic ranger or like even like a warlock is like a better archer, which is kind of sad.
So the
Like-
way prestige classes work are that you have to have specific things in place before you can do it, prerequisites. For example, to be an Arcane Archer, you have to be an elf or a half-elf, though why you'd play a half-elf, I don't understand.
For those not in the know, half elf is the tied with half orc as just being really terrible core races.
At least half-orc gets a stat boost. Half-elves just get a slight bonus to diplomacy skills.
Yeah, and it's not like they're tremendous. It's not like they get definitive. They really need. I feel like half elves really should get a charisma boost and take a Constitution malice. That would make their
To honor their elven ancestry, yeah. But this isn't improving races. This is the infinite depth of horseshit that is the DM's guide. You need a base attack bonus of +6, meaning that at minimum, if you're going for a full BAB, which is base attack bonus, basically how accurately you hit, you need to be at least 7th level because most classes that have what's called full BAB advances 1 per level. So you need to be level 7 for those of you who don't know, which some of you might not. I think most of you do. You need point blank shot, which is actually not a bad feat to have if you're going ranged. Precise shot, which is also pretty decently useful if you're going ranged.
I mean, I wouldn't say that the first feat is really any good. It's just that it's required for most of the actually good archery feats.
Oh yeah,
It's mediocre, but still slight increase in damage and to hit.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah,
it just I think it's just damage when up within 30 feet.
Which is a little nice, but yeah, precise shot's a lot more useful.
But here's the real kicker. Spells required. Ability to cast first level arcane spells.
So
That's why Adam said 7 levels earlier.
Remember, some classes
technically.
yeah, but there are some classes like the ever great fighter that give you a +1 to BAB each level, but then there are things like casters which don't really usually do that. So it's got probably even more than 7th level.
By the way, don't mind if you occasionally see the live stream kind of playback. I'm still getting used to that sort of setup, so it's going to be a little clunky. Yeah, this is pretty much only designed for Elven Rangers because to do this efficiently, to get in here quickly, there's a couple ways you could do this. The first,
not Ranger. It requires arcane casting specifically.
Oh yeah, and Rangers are divine, so you do have to take
Yeah.
the inefficient, stupid path.
Oof.
You have to
Oh,
take a level
God.
in Wizard or Sorcerer or any arcane caster. So you can't
Oof.
even do it the efficient way. You can't even just be a fucking Ranger.
That's a big oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then again, it's called Arcane Archer, not Divine Archer.
I use my power of the Lord to shoot you in the ass with an arrow. It is divine. It is divine providence.
God, if there was a Divine Archer, that would be. But then again, there's just like so many like good Ranger like prestige classes out there that kind of do just that, but they're not called Divine Archer.
Let's see, what else do you get out of this? So the class skills, basically in most cases, they'll give you class skills because you changed because you became this prestige class. So the list you got are craft, hide, listen, move silently, ride, spot, survival, and use rope, which is very mainly active roles, and it's kind of the problem that I always had with fighters in that in most cases you don't in combat, sure, you get some nice abilities like being able to hide and listen and move silently. Those are good, but outside of combat, doing things is a little bit of a struggle.
The thing is that you also things listed are things fighters don't get.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Fighters actually have the worst loadout I've ever seen.
It's
Almost all their skills are hindered by heavier armor, and the only notable skill that isn't is Intimidate, which uses Charisma, which is usually their best thumb stat.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's another discussion for another day. We're just discussing why this class is trash.
We're here to talk about
Actually, we've
specialized autism, not general autism.
We've
That's-
already discussed like the fighter class enough, anyways.
True. Yes, Greg, you're
anyways.
everywhere. So, what you also get, there's what's called a skeleton. So the Arcane Archer gets full progression on base attack, which is the accuracy of your hits. They have what's called a good save, 2 good saves, and a bad save. Good saves operate on, what was it? Something like, it's half your level
It's
plus 2,
Yep. And bad saves are equal to
1/3 your
about
level.
1/3 of your level rounded down.
So in this case, you have a pretty good fort and reflex save. Your will save is horseshit, but that's fine. That arrangement's not bad. But the problem is what you get when you enter this. You don't get much. You get what's called enhancing the arrow, which is a supernatural ability. Basically, every non-magical arrow in the Arcane Archer knocks and lets fly becomes magical, which gains a +1 enhancement bonus. And it gets stronger and stronger until you get to +5, but the problem with that is enchanting your ammunition's kind of pointless, because unlike 3.0, which is where I think this came from,
Yep.
the arrows do not stack with the bow. It is actually more
And-
efficient and less of a waste of your time to just enchant your bow to do this.
You can do either, but why is the real question.
The only time
Why
you
would
ever
you?
should is if you have cast bolt, where you have that level 1 wizard spell that allows you to chuck crossbow bolts.
You mean launch bolt?
Launch bolt. And even then, that's like situational. It's not worth the money.
Yeah. Use magic arrows if your DM gave them to you, but whatever.
As for other abilities, every other level they get other abilities like Imbue Arrow, which is a spell-like ability. Basically, you can cast area spells with your arrows, which kind of can sound good, but the problem is your efficiency. To do this efficiently, you want to be able to have 4 attacks, right?
All right.
Yep.
So that means at minimum you can only take 4 levels of an arcane caster. So you're stuck using maybe level 2 spells. Which, don't get me
Oof.
wrong, level 2 spells, there's some good ones, but in terms of
Yeah,
area
but not-
spreading, it's
why. This is all really a question of why.
that's the problem. Let's see. You also get what's called a Seeker Arrow eventually. That allows you to launch an arrow once per day at a target known and within range. And this sounds kind of cool because it allows you to do fancy trick shots. Like, if you know a dude's behind the corner, the arrow will just heat seek around the corner to try to shoot them. And only unavoidable obstacles will limit the ability for you to not shoot them in the head. But that's just kind of fancy. It's just kind of a fancy trick that usually isn't worth the effort.
It's not even really heat seek. It's not even really like a guaranteed hit. It just gets rid of concealment.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. Getting rid of that mischance is nice, but why do that when, if you entered an arcane caster's class, why don't you just do what I have an arcane caster that I'm currently playing by the name of Abdul. He'll just sculpt spell and just cast an undodgeable spell as like a pillar or something. Why not just
Or
do
just
that?
AoE. Or for hiding behind a pillar, just shoot like to the side of the pillar, and the guy gets blown up anyway.
Let's see. You also get what's called a phase arrow, which once per day. By the way, these are both once per day, so that's very limited. If it was like once per encounter, that might have been more valuable, but no. No. Just these are just once a day. That's something you got to keep in mind. So another one is phase arrow. Once a day, you can launch an arrow at a target, and the arrow will travel in a straight path, and it will pass through any non-magical barrier or wall in the way. Wall of Force, Wall of Fire, or Wall of Thorns will stop it, though. This will negate cover and concealment, and even armor modifiers. So basically, it's almost like a ranged touch. But again,
But
that's
why
the
wouldn't you just use the
problem.
ranged touch spell? Then why not just use the ranged touch spell?
And on top of that, remember, you only have one use per day.
That's really bad. You should give it a near unlimited uses of it because of the.
I wouldn't say unlimited uses, but I'd say maybe
Once
like,
per character level. Once per level.
Yeah,
oh, you add it up by per level so you can use it up to 10. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, maybe it scales up to to once per encounter, or just once per encounter you can do that.
Hell, even once per short rest would be better.
Yeah, like what they eventually did with marshals.
Oh yeah.
Then there's hail of arrows. Instead of using a normal attack once per day again, once per day again, you can fire an arrow at each and every target within range to a maximum of one target for every Arcane Archer level you have. That actually sounds kind of nice. You can hit up to 10 people at once. But from what
I'd like to mention about how Rangers are usually the best archer choice. They get a level 3 spell that's like that, only that's one target per ranger level within 30 feet of where they stand.
Yeah, I also like
The-
to joke that Warlock is probably the best archer because of their Eldritch Blast.
Well, you can also then just say screw it and become a combat beast.
Yeah.
But you don't understand. The capstone of this glorious fucking class is Arrow of Death. At 10th level, you can create an Arrow of Death that forces the target, if they get hit by it, to make a DC 20 Fortitude save, which actually is not that hard of a fucking DC to overcome with, by the way.
Especially if you're probably like level 17.
Well, you have to be at about this point.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
just
like-
die.
Plus, there isn't any way to increase the DC.
which is
Which
pretty
is how
poopy.
spells always work. Spells always work
Also-
as 10 plus your spell level plus your casting modifier.
Also, this also compared to this with the assassin. The assassin is a class where it's DC 10 plus a level plus intelligence modifier. I mean that makes more sense.
But to counter that though, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, assassins.
Yeah, but also before any of you clever viewers think read and say, oh, it takes a day to make Arrow of Death, not you can use it once per day. They thought about that and it's like, no. The Arrow of Death, it lasts for 1 year, but you can only have one arrow at a time.
Because
Yeah,
you
another
can't
thing-
use the stockpile.
Another thing, it mentions that the effect only happens if they're damaged by the arrow, which means if they have enough damage reduction, just ignore the damage. Even if it hits, it just doesn't kill them.
It'd be cool if you could. It'd be cool if you could just stack like an entire rack of death arrows. If the first one doesn't get, if the second or
It
third,
would actually be a half decent reward. It would be an actually decent reward for slogging through this class.
yeah, it probably would actually make it kind of worth it because just by sheer volley of fire, you're bound to eventually get
Kill
them on a
something.
weak point.
But again, to play this class, you have to be an elf. Which, hey, that's fine. They have dex bonuses. They're good at ranged combat because of that. Ranger ideally, but because you get some decent support spells until you cripple yourself entering this class.
No, remember, you got to be an arcane caster.
Yeah, but you can still get 2 levels of ranger spells before you have to cripple yourself. Because you start getting spells at level 4, so you can get up to 3 levels of ranger spells before you cripple yourself by becoming a wizard. Oh wait, no, only 2, because for your 6th level you have to go into wizard or something. And then you get a bunch of Arcane Archer levels. I mean, yeah, your base attack isn't going to get crippled that much, but this class isn't designed for anyone, really, if you think about it.
No.
It's almost as if it was pulled out of their ass to make an arbitrary number of classes to pad out the book.
The only way I could see this not even working, because to actually get a benefit out of this, you have to be the dumbest person on the planet by picking a fighter that specializes in ranged. Then probably a spontaneous caster, because you probably don't want to keep a spell book. So you'd have to somehow become a sorcerer. And then, after making yourself a little more useless than you should have been otherwise, though admittedly you chose fighter, the worst option, Then you get to continue on Arcane Archer.
Oh,
Yeah,
also, as I noted that one of the only good classes that you could even do this without having to do through multiple things is one of the spell blades that are later introduced. But remember, when this was made, those didn't exist. So they made this with the intention of you using fighter and wizard and all these other things.
But why would I want to ruin my Duskblade by picking this dumpster fire? Because here's another thing. It doesn't advance casting. It doesn't advance casting. It doesn't have its own spell pool. Which, if you're an Arcane Archer, you'd think you'd at least allow them to take some of a Ranger's sloppy seconds. No, you don't get any of that. So if you were dumb and played a Duskblade, good job. You made your Duskblade worthless.
GG.
So I personally would rate this one garbage. It's not quite True Namer tier because, yes, while it makes your character worse, a lot of prestige classes are kind of situational. And on top of that, at worst, you're still a crap archer.
I mean, that's not saying much. That's
Yeah.
true.
It's the worst way to fight in D&D, but you're not crippled too much by it.
It's garbage because at least you get a full base attack bonus and you get solid fort. You get good fort and reflex saves, so that counts for something.
Yeah, I agree. I'll probably rate it garbage as well.
It's complete garbo.
I rated 3-week-old lasagna.
Wait, but is the lasagna in the fridge, or was it left out, or was it left in the kitchen?
It was left in a snowbank, like
It was left in my garbage pail.
And then like it left in like the snow all winter. Then like it got then the snow melted and it now
Let's
it's
move on from the
hard.
lasagna metaphor.
Yes, to class that I don't actually hear people talk too much about. It's brought up sometimes, but I haven't heard it in a good dog's age. The Arcane Trickster. This is kind of a similar setup to the Arcane Archer in some ways, in that you have to be non-lawful. So hey, guess what? You don't have to be an elf to take this. You need Decipher Script, at least 7 ranks. Disable Device 7 ranks, which hey, if you're a trap disarming rogue, that's fine. Escape Artist 7 ranks, that's also pretty fine because most rogues worth their salt would at least have some Escape Artist ranks. And Knowledge Arcana 4 ranks, which isn't it a cross-class skill for them? I know that rogues are skilled on it.
Yeah.
But look at this spells prerequisite.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Spell's ability to cast Mage Hand and at least one arcane spell of 3rd level and higher. That's
a big one.
interesting.
It's a big requirement there.
And you need a sneak attack die of 2d6. So
it's a mid tier. This is meant for more of a middle level character.
I would say this would be more for a wizard that took a couple of rogue levels than a rogue that took a couple levels of wizard.
Yeah, even then you got to finagle around for the skill points.
Yeah,
there's ways to make it work. It's just it's one you kind of have to look a guide up for to really get the most bang out of your buck.
To get in it the quickest. Also, I'd probably say that out of all of the arcane casters, I would suggest using one that uses intelligence as your skill stat, your casting stat, because that gives you the skill points needed to pull this off.
Well, not only that, but because for the most part, if you want level 9 spells out of this class at all, because it requires minimum 3 ranger levels, you pretty much need to take Wizard or another prepared arc. I meant Rogue.
Well, I mean, there is that one variant of Ranger, but yeah.
So in terms of class skills, it looks like you mostly inherit the rogue's skill set with a little bit of the wizard's.
Makes sense with Mr. Bad Touch over there.
Yeah, Mr. Bad Touch over there. Is that a
rocker with? Is he doing a rocker with a shocker?
2 in the pig, 1 in the steak. Here's my spell.
Oh no!
This is a man that's wanted in at least 3 different kingdoms, and not because of the theft.
Also, I just noticed that hit die D4. Oof.
Hey, the way it works is you start as primarily a wizard, so that's bad.
Yeah,
you're a little frail.
Oh yeah.
But you're a wizard who dabbles as a rogue rather than a rogue that dabbles.
I mean, The thing is that on average, it's only like 1 less HP per level than what a rogue would get.
A lot of people forget rogues only get a d6 die.
They're not the most. They're not the most
Really,
sturdy of
because
boys.
I see them run into melee combat so often at the front too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just talking. You just see like my Devani rogue, which it's risky because they're a Devani, and like they have to split the hit points. But
Oh no, that's
And
a
for
yeah,
those who
but-
don't
but
know what a
I'm
Devati is,
special.
they're
Yeah.
from a Dragon magazine article that eventually got published into a compendium, I think.
Yep.
So anyway, Arcane Tricksters. They have a lot of skills. They're a bit fragile. I will give them note that for a class that starts you as a caster, because that's kind of how you have to do this, it does advance all of your spell casting.
Yeah, to give an idea, if you take no more than 3 rogue levels, you can get level 9 spells by level 20.
Which is ideal because while you can get away with not having level 9 spells, it's always nice to have some on hand.
I mean,
There's some
considering the
very
power level of
powerful
level 9
level 9
spells, I
ones.
think giving those up is just not worth it ever.
What was it? The disconjunction spell that allows you to just basically screw everyone's day by destroying their magic equipment.
Yeah, or get rid of their innate magic permanently forever.
Oof.
Yeah, level 9 spells don't play around. Isn't Imminent Implosion also one?
But that's from the cleric spell list.
Still, level 9.
Yep.
Level 9s don't play around. So, fittingly, the Arcane Trickster doesn't have very good saves. Well, no, it has good saves in Reflex and Will. For some reason, I was looking at the base attack bonus, which the progression rate you're seeing here is a wizard. It's what's called Pour. Full is 1 per level. Average is basically 0.75 per level is the best way to describe it, rounded down.
It'd be easier to say it as good is equal to your level, average is equal to 3/4 of your level, and bad is equal to half your level.
So basically, this is another case of the Arcane Trickster being a wizard who dabbles as a rogue rather than the other way around.
I mean, the good thing, though, is that by the rules, ray spells can be used with sneak attack.
Yeah. So, and you get a nice amount of sneak attack die because you still start with 2d6, so you get 7d6 sneak attack die with your raise.
Anyway, do you mind if I do the class skill?
Oh, sure, I don't mind. It allows me to drink some Coca-Cola and rest my vocal cords.
Well, first up for special abilities that isn't just adds arcane casting level, whatever. Unique skills, we have the range legerdemain. I'm gonna be honest here, folks. I don't know what that word means, but
I think it's like lock picking and like other stuff, like manipulating stuff. I don't know. It's
well,
like,
that's what this is. Well, that's what this is.
I think it's like French.
Pretentious. Let's call it pretentious.
Yeah.
More or less, it's great. It's just kind of like mage hand. Like it's just really that, like mage hand, but for rogue skills.
It's actually like, hey, you know how rogues usually get exploded by traps because they're the ones in front disarming the bomb? Why the hell would you do that up close when you can just do it 30 feet away with a mage hand?
Except only once, and then twice, and then 3 times per day.
That's still better than the Arcane Archer, which only ever got once a day for all of their stuff.
True that.
That's still 3 less traps that you have to stick your face in and worry about getting exploded.
Yeah.
And very actually nicely, this class does advance sneak attack pretty much at the same rate as rogue. So
also
you can make a very sneaky boy.
A very destructive wizard, because think about it like this. Remember, rays like Scorching Ray, Alt Ray of Frost, Ray of Enfeeblement.
Could you sneak attack with a Ray of Stupidity?
Actually, Diopsid, here's my question. You know Rays of Enfeeblement and Ray of Stupidity? Could you apply 76 sneak attack damage on the Ray of Stupidity?
No, it works specifically with damaging rays.
That's still nice. And remember, rogues have a slightly. Oh wait, you don't get enough rogue.
You can
levels
use
to do
cantrips
it.
for this. You can use cantrips for this though.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, and the final unique ability is a bonus to it: impromptu sneak attack. Once at a third level, once per day, the Arcane Trickster can make either a ranged or melee. Don't know why you do melee, but range is more likely. A sneak attack, but they have to be within 30 feet of you. The person that you're sneak attacking loses any dexterity bonus to their AC, which means if they were a slippery bastard, you pretty much you make this worse than a touch attack.
Well, the thing is, though, it's only for this attack, though. But it's a great way to
Oh,
nail
yes.
down a slippery, like a high dex build.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not to mention the big thing is that it allows you to apply sneak attack when they're not flat-footed or being flanked.
Which I can understand why this is.
Yeah.
Well, I can understand why this is only once per day.
And then it later twice, but the only downside is it can't be used on any creature that normally wouldn't be vulnerable to criticals.
So
that's
things
how
like
sneak attack
is
normally
undead,
works anyway.
construct. Oh wait, no,
Or-
you actually can. You eventually get to do it twice a day. So
Yeah, I said that, but also no undead or anything that can't be surprised.
if you can't,
If
it doesn't have a kidney to stab into, you can't kill it.
Well, yep, and that's it.
Well,
That's it, really. How do we rate this? It's pretty succinct and short.
I say I put it in good because if nothing else, you're going to at least get at least 0 through 9 casting, and also sadly, due to my sneaky boy bias, I also like that it's a versatile in and out of combat class.
Originally, I was probably only going to rate this decent, but then I realized that you get to apply sneak attack dice to raise, which, while situational, is quite powerful, and it also allows you to use that intelligence to become a pretty decent little skill monkey. So, in case, like, say you have a more dedicated rogue and they get knocked down, or they don't feel like doing it, or the player didn't show up, your Arcane Trickster might be able to find ways around it. It's just barely in good. It's kind of on the borderline for me, but it's still a good class, which means that it's something I would recommend, especially if you are a type of wizard that wants to hang with the rogue when they're doing their rogue things.
I will say that if you're going for a rogue that can use arcane casting, I say ignore all those prestige classes with their own spell pool and go with this.
Yeah, I would also say, like, it's on the lower end of good. Like, you just have to think about it as more of, like, a wizard that like, dabbles in rogue than, like, a rogue that dabbles in wizard.
Which was why I originally was going to think it as decent, because I honestly... A rogue that dabbles in the wizard, to me, is a slightly weaker build than just a wizard who takes a couple rogue levels.
Yeah.
I rate this fun. I won't call it good. But I can say that if you pick this up, this is a class you can have fun with.
So decent.
Yeah.
And not cripple yourself.
Because Barbarian is decent, but it's a lot of fun to play. It's
the only reason Barbarian's decent is it does one thing, and it does that one thing really well.
Exceptionally well.
And it's also fun, especially since you get to play Rigdar, the dumb rage-filled barbarian. Sometimes you just need to be Rigdar.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you really like to like roleplay like big dumb brutes. Like, yeah, like it's. But yeah, this is definitely a good class, like, that you could have fun with, because I also think it's really good to like just, rate it by like fun factor as well, because there's some classes that just aren't fun. Like, I'm looking at you, Marshall.
Oh God.
Requiescat in passem, Marshall, for you were there.
Now let's go on to the next thing. Let's flate some wizards, specifically
the Archmage.
an arch.
So, fun fact about this book: since it came out so early, a lot of classes here run into the issue of obsolescence. I don't think it's the Archmage, but there's a couple later down the line that runs against that issue of obsolescence.
I mean, it is one of them because of
Yeah.
how its abilities work. There are just better prestige classes that come out later in the edition, sometimes pretty early in terms of later in the edition, that are just a better option for it in every way.
The best way to describe this is it's kind of like, the early cruiser tanks the UK built before right around the beginning of World War II, and how that design ethos was not a good idea. Because, the cavalry tank idea, when reality, heavier armor, a bigger engine would have been better. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like an interwar design, almost. Where the basic idea, there's a logic to it, but it's just things made it stand by. It's like the CAC boomerang.
And just a little warning here, folks. This is the first prestige class that is meant for endgame characters specifically.
Ah, yes, because of the requirements, which Knowledge Arcana 15 ranks, Spellcraft 15 ranks, Skill Focus Spellcraft, and Spell Focus in 2 schools of magic.
Which means at minimum, you need to be level 12, at minimum.
And you need to cast 7th level arcane spells. And you have to have
13.
knowledge of 5th level or higher spells from at least 5 schools. So this is not an early class. This is a very end game guy.
It pretty much says be a wizard, because it's really hard to meet that last one with sorcerer without gimping yourself.
Also, I'm not going to lie, the Archmage's design in 3.5 has...
It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
That is a leader of a Slaaneshi warband.
Oh.
I was thinking it looked like...
or maybe
that one Doctor Strange...
Sorcerer for the Thousand Suns?
No, I was thinking he looked like Baron Mordu from that
oh my
Doctor
God,
Strange
he does.
villain. Except with a rainbow coat. That's literally what he looks like to me.
He looks like Ming. He looks like Ming from Flash Gordon.
He does. So as for what the Archmage can do, it's basically a wizard template. It gives you the spells per day of the arcane spellcasting class you were previously. Its big thing is just called High Arcana. That's what it gives you. That's what it does. It's a very interesting and very strange ability. The idea is the Archmage has secret lore that's unknown to lesser wizards and sorcerers, which are very interesting because they're kind of a grab bag. Some of them are very good. A lot of them are mediocre to kind of bad.
I've got secret knowledge that only the others can never grasp to hold.
So the way it works is you gain the opportunity to select a special ability from among there's a list by permanently eliminating one of your spell slots. And you cannot eliminate a spell slot of a higher level than the highest level spell cast. Each ability has a minimum required spell slot level to sacrifice, as specified in the description of the list. For example, a 15th level wizard normally can cast 2 7th level spells per day. A 13th level wizard and a 12th level archmage, which last I checked is fucking impossible.
Well, it's the 2nd level, not 12th level.
Okay. Who chooses the arcane reach ability forfeits one of their 7th level spell slots permanently.
Yeah, that's the main reason why it ended up being outclassed, because you're giving up spell slots, which isn't really the best thing.
And you can choose to eliminate spell slots of a higher level than required to gain that type of high arcana, but again, why would you? So, okay, here's the high arcana choices you have. There's Arcane Fire, which, in my opinion, may be the worst option you could possibly pick. Because anything it changes arcane spell energy into arcane fire. It's considered raw magical energy. It's a ranged touch attack with a wide range. It deals 1d6 points of damage per class level of the Archmage, plus 1d6 points of damage per level of the spell used to create the effect. So if you're using a 7th level spell to Arcane Fire, you deal 12d6 points of damage. And from what I can tell, it doesn't really explain whether or not it's treated as fire damage or just raw untyped. If it's raw untyped, it's actually better than I gave it credit, but it's still not great.
I'm pretty sure it's meant to be fire. Probably was explained in the errata at some point.
Okay, that
It
makes
might
it
just
a
count
lot
as
worse.
magic fire.
Though if
Epic
it
fire.
though if it was untyped damage, then it's somewhat of a it's
I
understandable.
still wouldn't quite give up a 7th level spell slot.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's a 9th level spell, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it says it costs 1 9th level spell slot.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Megadolon ain't worth that. No Megadolon ain't worth that.
9th level
Nope.
spell, and you're gonna waste it to cast fire? Are you high? Well, actually,
Nope.
looking at the Archmage, he probably is.
I mean, even if it was typeless, it still would not be worth it. There's so many better typeless spells that would deal far more damage at that.
Absolutely.
Raising the point of just welcome to die, aka imminent implosion. I know that's divine spell, but hey. Or
Arcane.
disconjunction. Oh,
Arcane Reach, a supernatural ability. The Archmage can use spells within the range of touch on a target up to 30 feet away. The Archmage must be willing to make a ranged touch attack. Arcane Reach miss can be selected a second time as a special ability, in which case the range increases to 60 feet. This costs 1 7th level slot spell.
Fucking woo!
that was made obsolete with feats, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
woo!
Basic meta
Woo!
magic feats, by the way.
Yep.
Woo!
Hey, you know what would be more intelligent? Sacrificing a 7th level spell slot, or I don't know, just raising your level 1 spell as a level 2 spell just to be able to cast it differently.
Fucking woo!
Yeah, Arcane Reach may be the dumbest choice out of all of them. Why do I get the feeling I'm going to say that for every option? Oh, Mastery of Counterspelling. Hey, remember counterspells? When the Archmage can counterspells a spell, it's turned back on the caster as if it was fully affected by the spell turning. If a spell cannot be affected by turning, for example, if it's a spell that affects an area, it's merely counterspelled. That also costs a 7th level spell slot. Also, I
Good
think
idea. Counterspelling also requires you to use your turn and then get ready to counterspell, which requires expending the exact same spell that's being casted against you, or if you have the improved counterspell feat, either Dispel Magic or Greater Dispel Magic.
So you need to actually have the spell on hand, so tough shit if the guy you're facing has a completely different loadout than you.
Yeah.
God, every one of these abilities have been a bomb so far.
And while it's only once per day, later on in the edition, they introduced magic item that does something much better than this, where you automatically get a spellcraft check against any spell cast within 60 feet of you, and you can counterspell or redirect it as an immediate action.
No, you don't understand. I gotta sacrifice my 7th level spells. Like, you know, I think Prismatic Spray is a 7th level.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, why cast Prismatic Spray, one of my favorite spells, when I can just fail to deflect a Disintegrate. Or a Power Word Kill, because I didn't prepare it. Because I wasted a spell slot to get another useful thing like Cast Fire. But don't worry, you can also get Master of Elements. The Archmage can alter an arcane spell when cast so that it utilizes a different element from the one it normally uses, which, by the way, is also a meta magic feat. So basically, Mastery of Elements, for example, you know that, let's say you like to cast Fireball. You could turn it into an Ice Ball, a Acid Ball, Thunder Ball, or even Sonic Ball. But again,
Yep.
there's a meta magic feat that does the same damn thing.
The funny thing is that also, as I mentioned, it only works on spells that already have those damage descriptors.
Yeah, so if you're trying to use something that's untyped or just doesn't have a descriptor, good luck. By the way, that sacrifice is an 8th level spell slot. God, the more I look at this, the more I'm realizing how bad this is.
Mastery of Shaping. I think that is like,
Maybe that's gonna be good.
like Isn't that basically sculpt spell?
Well, let's read it through. Maybe the Archmage can alter the area and effect spells that uses one of the following shapes. Oh my god, it is. It is.
It's literally sculpt spell.
Oof.
Like what Abdul uses to cast like a line of crease.
Abdul just became level 4, and he's able to outdo a goddamn Archmage.
Yeah.
But I have secret knowledge that no others have.
Well, I use a demon skull to steal magic.
That's impossible. How can this be? No.
that cloak is mine now. And then Abdul starts wearing the rainbow cloak. God, the more I look at this, oh god damn it, spell power is it's just a heightened spell.
No, it increases the caster level by +1.
Because that's very, very useful. I mean, it's cheap and only costs a 5th level spell slot, but
5th levels have lots of nice stuff, though.
I know, I'm being sarcastic.
Especially since, for most spells, it usually just means one more round duration or one more d6 die added to its damage.
Yeah. Oh, here's a spell-like ability. An Archmage who selects this type of high Arcana can use one of their arcane spell slots, other than a slot expended to learn this or any other type of high Arcana, to permanently prepare one of their arcane spells as a spell-like ability that can be used twice a day. The Archmage does not use any components when casting the spell, though a spell that costs XP to cast still does so, and a spell with a costly material exponent instead costs them 10 times that amount in XP.
Sounds wonderful.
Isn't there just a spell that does the same shit?
There's other ways to turn spells into spell-like abilities that, ignore the whole
No, I
material
mean just being
component
able
part.
to cast the same spell twice.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many spells like that.
So why would you waste another 5th level spell slot, especially since stuff that's expensive like you know that one exalted spell that costs like 1,000 gold and diamond dust, but it hits really goddamn hard?
Yep.
God, how imagine if you had to use all that XP.
Such an efficient use.
10,000 experience
Well,
points.
actually, it's 100 gold, so it'd be 1,000 XP, which is still significant for
blow away
any
1,000 EXP per.
God, this class is just so dated.
You know what's really funny? When I originally wrote, because for those viewers curious, I originally wrote almost a little novella, almost a full novel on a bunch of classes. I included this, and I remember rating this a lot higher. But
Yeah, you rated this as good.
What the fuck was I on?
This was like playable at best.
Well, you were Adam. Real friends talk to friends that do warpstone.
Was I? Oh yeah, that's when I was snorting warpstone with all the rats in the sewers.
There is no such thing as rats in the sewer. That is just pure propaganda.
But why does my drug supplier look like a rat man?
He's just ugly.
Oh, okay.
I rate this as.
Oh no, we're not even done yet. We're not even done yet. There's more.
That's not done.
But wait, there's more.
Oh my god.
Oh no, there's no more. It's literally just the spell-like ability. It's just that fucking long. There's no more.
I
thought
rate
there was
this.
one more.
I rate this as playable, but the only reason I rate this as playable because it advances arcane casting class fully. That's the only reason why it's playable.
Yeah, same. That's the same reason why I rate this as playable. It is so outdated. Like there's so much stuff that like does everything like you get but better, like feats and like
Mhm.
other stuff. Like plus it's just class, like as far as fun factor goes, it just isn't as fun as getting like say the sculpt spell feat like at earlier levels.
I mean, to
I-
give you
I-
an idea, the class that's best at entering this is Wizard, and unless you decide to weaken yourself by going as a specialist wizard, you have far fewer spell slots than most other casting classes.
I rate this too long didn't read.
I'm actually going to be harsher on this one than you two. I'm rating this just barely garbage. And here's why. In a fight between fight between an Archmage and Abdul, yes, Abdul would lose, but the Archmage would be screaming because Abdul is just casually using 2 bits of high Arcana like it's nothing.
But it was my own secret knowledge. It's my higher tongue.
What
I don't know
I'm,
why
what I'm
I'm-
trying to say is if a fucking caster can do what an Archmage does at level goddamn 1. Okay, admittedly they can't really start playing around with that until like level 3 because meta magic works by heightening the spell level effectively. That's how Abdul's able to get away with bullshit with things like Kelgor's Firebolt and Grease. Until you get to like level 3, you can't really exploit meta magic like that, at least as an arcane caster. But the fact of the matter is, when you enter this fucker at like level 13, you were doing stuff that thing can do 10 levels ago. And while it doesn't cripple your character, it's just you might as well have stayed as a wizard. That's the only reason I'm going to rate it just barely garbage. It is playable, but I just think what you get is so offensive and aged so poorly.
I mean, I just probably take a dip in it just to get an extra +2 to will save faster than wizard. That's it.
Yeah, but the whole way the autistic analysis works is if you're going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, like that's bad. Like just take it for a will save. That's my endorsement of it.
But is it really worth it when there's so many?
No,
Less
it's
awful-
not. It's not. It's not. I was listening to the positive I could see. That was the positive.
Don't be such an optimist. Jeez.
Almost every casting prestige class increases will saves. There's so much better prestige classes that take one level for that will save things.
Yeah, you're trying to be like optimistic. You just can't.
So what you're saying, Greg, is you rated it good, like my insane butt did back when I wrote about this piece of shit.
No. I rate. Like I said, I rate it too long. Didn't read. As in, I pass it over.
That's probably why I rated it so high. I probably didn't read it all.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
Diopsid, where are
actually-
you gonna rate it?
I'm gonna rate it playable because if you really cheese up your casting stat, the loss of the spell slots wouldn't hurt too much, but still requires a lot of min maxing.
And as we leave Archmage, you mentioned Skaven before. Well, look at this motherfucker.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he
That's
looks like
just-
Clan Eshin.
No, he doesn't look like Clan Eshin. He just looks like the janitor that goes into the basement to kill the rats.
But why? How do you know about these? Why do you copy yourself so?
I don't know. Anyway, assassins. This is the one out of all of the DM guide classes that were created. I think assassin probably had among the most legs. There's a couple others that did, but this is the one that most people remember. I think.
Well,
It's so edgy.
It's in the name. It's in the name. Yeah, special. I love the special requirement for it. The character must kill someone for no other reason than to join the. But
Well, because yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people don't remember because this is ported over from earlier editions. Assassins as a class specifically worship, if I remember right, a chaotic evil goddess of murder or something like that.
Not really.
I might be confusing it with another prestige class that does the same thing.
Yeah, like the assassin has nothing to do with any sort of religious organization whatsoever.
So anyway, yeah, basically the assassin is their main thing is focusing on death. It's very much based on progressing from rogue You need it. Its hit die is basically a rogue's. You have to be evil, and that is a. I do remember that being a complaint. Why can't I be a neutral assassin?
I mean, I think just outright murdering people for pure profit is not
Or you
AKA
considered.
most
Or
adventurous.
just
That's
to be
most
an
adventurous.
assassin.
You don't
Yeah.
understand. If you just focus your bloodlust on like mind flayers, you're doing good.
I mean, look at that bastard. He looked evil. He deserved it.
Mind flayers are evil. They fucking enslave people and mutate them into monsters, and then on top of that, their entire life cycle's like a parasitoid wasp.
So genocide
People die
is
when a mind
justified.
flayer is born.
D&D, genocide is justified.
It is with mind flayers.
Well, anyway, let's continue on about this
So anyway,
this special collab.
you have to channel your inner murder. They probably actually I think this was around early 2000, right?
God, this was a
2003.
My question
this
is,
was
do you think they might have ripped? Was the Dark Brotherhood a thing in the earlier Elder Scrolls? Because I don't remember more.
absolute.
Yeah,
Absolute.
they were always a thing. They were always a thing.
But
There-
Assassins were a base class in AD&D, and a lot of the stuff is sort of the same. So it
Oh,
really,
so maybe the Dark Brotherhood
So-
ripped off them.
probably.
Wait. Anyway, going into skills. This is actually a really easy prestige class to enter in pretty early.
Well, yeah, all you need is disguise, hide, and move silently. And if you're playing a
Yeah.
rogue, you're gonna, except for maybe disguise, you're probably gonna have two of the three.
And if nothing,
Yes.
else, with even just decent int, you could get this at 5th level. You could enter this class at 5th level.
6th level, technically.
6th level, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I will also clarify to say that for an April Fool's joke, they made a good variant of this, which is basically a recolored version of this one. So,
well, lawful, not good.
yes.
It's got a good bevy of class skills, but whatever.
Let's see.
Uh,
It does progress into a variety of spells, but the thing with the assassin is, like a lot of prestige classes, when they list off spells in their description, you're basically given a limited group of spells. And in this case, the assassin spell list is you get Disguise Self, Detect Poison, Featherfall, Ghost Sound, Jump, Obscuring Mist, Sleep, and True Strike. That's your level 1 loadout. For level 2, you get Alter Self, Cat's Grace, Darkness, Fox's Cunning, which I've never seen anyone use Fox's Cunning in my life. Illusory Script, Invisibility, Pass Without Trace, Spider Climb, Undetectable Alignment. Then there's Deep Slumber, Deeper Darkness, False Life, Magic Circle, Against Good, Misdirection, and Non-Detection. And then last but not least, you get Clairaudience or Clairvoyance, Dimension Door, Freedom of Movement, Glibness, Greater Invisibility, Locate Creature, Modify Memory, and Poison.
The good thing is,
You get a
You
couple
don't have to
very
fall.
good spells out of it.
the good thing is as well, due to this class getting a lot of love throughout the thing, is there's a lot of other books that have many other spells for this. So the assassin's spell list is
Larger than what I listed, so for
Oh,
this
yeah.
book, I just listed the basics. Unlike most prestige classes, because they get mentioned, the way these kind of work is, if a prestige class gets mentioned again, their spell list always expands.
Well, for the most part, the only prestige classes to ever get Splatbook expansion are the two core ones with their own spell list, which are Assassin and Blackguard.
ugh,
Which
ugh,
is
the second one.
We'll
yeah,
get to
that's next.
Blackguard.
But anyway, I think the weapon and armor efficiency, they actually technically gain one more weapon with the heavy crossbow, because I don't think they always were able to use that. But beyond that, it's the same thing as a rogue. Whoop-de fucking do.
The best way to describe an assassin is it's an evil rogue that gains a bevy of spells.
Yeah.
Al-
Sneak attack
also,
advances the exact same, and they gain a more advanced version of sneak attack, death attack.
Yep.
okay,
And
so
in case
so
you don't
you
have poison use, you can also get poison use.
how the death attack works is that you have to wait 3 rounds, which if you're playing the character right, you're going to be setting ambush points, and if you hit, the enemy has to make a DC Fortitude save 10 plus your assassin class level, plus your assassin intimate modifier. And if they fail, they either die or get paralyzed, whichever one you choose.
Which
I-
is very situational in battle. It's better used in cases of scouting, or
Mhm.
if, say, you were there's sometimes in D&D where you're given missions to take out, say, like let's say if you're playing more of a mercenary or kind of murder hobo thing, you might get a mission from like a bounty hunter, like this is Rignar is stupid. He murdered children and ate them in an orphanage because he thought it was a cafeteria. We want this ogre dead. And you would
Yeah.
just wait for Rignar as the assassin and then just gut his his throat.
Also-
this is the class that you play when you're this is the class that people play who are with the players who like to put their characters in the corner brooding. These are the guys that like to go off on their own and not involve themselves with the group because sometimes they're actively hampered by the group.
This
Also,
is
what
this
if
is-
it-
sorry.
But I mean, well, Hans is playing essentially the quote unquote good variant of this class. I mean, he's very
It's
outgoing.
lawful, yeah.
But yes, this class is one that this is a classic. This is a very that guy magnet for a reason.
They're not team players. Assassins aren't team players.
Which is sad because if they coordinate with the team, they can be quite effective.
I mean,
They
can
not are.
coordinate and be effective, but the players who want to play assassins are usually the ones that the DM will say no.
Not to mention with the death attack thing, in many cases, there will be a lot of times where the rest of the party won't be involved, so they're basically just watching the assassin. That's one of the worst things I hate about playing in parties with rogues or similar classes, is that they always wander off, and the DM has to give them a whole bunch of attention as they're doing their own thing far from the rest of the party, while the rest of the group just sits
Kinda
there
makes-
twiddling
Well,
their thumbs.
it's usually also there's the opposite problem where because they're ahead, they get ganked.
Yeah, it's just a problem with classes that rely on stealth in general in a party situation because, well, stealth is determined. Is really determined by in a group. It's determined by everyone's stealth roll. So if you got the one big lug who's wearing the heavy armor and has no dex, everyone gets spotted. Fuck you.
I
Yeah,
still
it's
feel
like- it's
sorry
like-
for Bannon.
Yeah, poor Bannon. Like, seriously,
Hey,
like,
Bannon succeeded because Bannon was succeeding as
Because
disguising
I was
himself
being
as the
nice.
as-
yeah, honestly, like, yeah, because, like, let's say there's, like, the rogue, like, 2 sneaky warlocks and a bard that, like, specialized in sneaking. Yeah, that's,
And then there was the walking suit of armor.
Yep.
yeah.
So
God.
for assassin, I would, because they get a couple of other abilities like hide in plain
Save
sight
against poison.
and save against
Save
poison,
against-
which is situational at best. I would say it's not a bad upgrade if you're going in as like an evil rogue.
Okay.
There's better options, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably rate it as a high decent.
It's fine. You can have fun, but only in a party that kind of understands what they're getting into.
Well,
Yep,
you can also have fun as long as you remember, oh yeah, you're supposed to work as a team, so maybe don't walk away to a million miles to just murder people randomly by watching
Or,
them.
like,
Also, it's a little it's worded vaguely, so you gotta be careful. But it's just people kind of mistake the special thing. Character must kill someone for no other reason. They forget that to join the assassins, that's supposed to be an initiation ritual. But there is technically no limit. So technically, you could join the assassins as a chaotic evil serial killer who just stabs someone for the shits and giggles.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a reason they're all evil.
Yeah.
I would also say high decent because, hey, it gives rogues something that allows them to not really match, but hey, having spells as a rogue always is nice.
I will say though that they are heavily hampered as skill monkeys because they only get 4+ skill points
Yeah.
per level.
I
It's
thought
half
you're go-
that of rogues.
I think it kind of works though because in exchange they do get, admittedly, not a great pull of magic, but it does help.
It's it's a high decent in my opinion. It's
I'll be the contrarian here and say it's playable. There are for similar reasons to the Archmage that later on in the edition, there's a lot. If you want to be a rogue with your own special casting pool, there are better and more options that can gel with parties better. Because you have to remember that the large majority of DMs outright ban playing evil characters, so most of the time assassins are left as NPCs.
And that's perfectly fair, but I'd say that it never fully became obsolete. And the spell loadout you have, while not powerful, does complement the stealth aspect. And last but not least, if you're in a campaign where you at least have another fairly sneaky boy like a ranger or something, you can go pretty far with them.
Yeah, honestly, like I would also say decent. Just please don't be that guy.
Oh
Don't be
no.
Speaking of that guy,
Oh no.
Come on, everyone! It's everyone's favorite Blackguard.
I'm gonna need the Pabst Blue Ribbon
Sure,
for
we can't
this.
talk about the better Blackguard, the Bone Knight. Do we have to talk about this?
we
It's
do.
here.
We have to, because I'm one of the idiots that played one once.
What? Blackguard?
Yeah.
Wait, what? I think you've mentioned this story only once or twice, maybe. I don't remember
The
this.
one with, like, I think Shape was in that game too.
Yeah. It was before he was retconned into a Bone Knight.
Oh. Okay, so the Blackguard. They're what happens when a player, or really an NPC paladin, wants to die, but they want to die not in style, but just at least pretending that they didn't want to commit suicide. So what they do is they become a Blackguard. The best way to describe them are they're supposed to be kind of the dark mirror of a paladin, those that have fallen and just dedicated themselves to evil.
Yeah.
The good gods didn't give him enough attention, so they went to go be like, well, fuck you, daddy. I'll make my own order with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
So, to become a Blackguard, why the fuck would you? You need to be evil, obviously. You have a base attack bonus of +6. You need to have Hide as 5 ranks, even though you're
Why?
a goddamn
Why?
paladin before then. And Knowledge Religion 2 ranks, which actually makes sense.
But if you're a paladin, you should have that anyway.
What?
Yeah.
The
You also need Cleave, which is a fairly decent choice.
Power attack.
Sunder, Y, and Power Attack, which is basic.
Also, why are all these feats melee focused?
Because they didn't have improved smiting yet, or that one that allows you to have more smiting.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
This is early, so specials include, because this was back when feats sucked. Special includes that the character must have made peaceful contact with an evil outsider who was summoned by them or someone else. So not only do you have to be a fallen paladin, really, you have to be such a whining child that you decide to contact the bad man that your daddy in the paladin order told you to stay away from because he ain't good for you, son. You get basically the paladin loadout. I think some of it's been removed. Same paladin basic. Oh god, the
Hey,
Blackguard example just looks so.
looks like he's just wearing Daedric armor.
Who do you think ripped off who? The Blackguard or the Daedric armor?
yes.
Well, with that image, I can't. Well, with the class, I don't know, but that image, I can't be sure.
Alright, so Aura of Evil. The power of Blackguard's Aura of Evil, see detect evil, is equal to their class level plus their cleric level.
What?
Cleric level.
Well,
Now
the
you're
reason why
playing
they
the
say
paladin,
that,
then.
well, is also Paladin also says that if they also have levels as being a good aligned cleric, because the ability stacks for however many classes have that ability.
But not Paladin, so as written, nope. You get Detect Good, basically like a Paladin has Detect Evil. Poison use for some. They're skilled in using poison, so they never run risk of poisoning themselves. Then they get Dark Blessing. This Blackguard applies their Charisma modifier, if possible, as a bonus to all saving throw. So basically, you get what a level 1 Paladin gets, except you also get Poison use, and you can access spells. But the thing is, you're further along in level. So as for the spell, the Blackguard has the ability to cast a small number of divine spells. The list includes... it appears below. It's really far down. Actually, I don't even think they listed it. Oh my god.
Let's just go to the other things.
No, I found the spells. Cause fear, corrupt weapon, cure light wounds, doom, inflict light wounds, magic weapon, and summon monster 1, which are very bad options.
Yeah, none of those are good.
Cure light wounds is situational. Bull strength, cure moderate wounds, darkness, death knell, eagle splendor, inflict moderate wounds, shatter, and summon monster 2. Contagion, cure serious wounds, deeper darkness, inflict serious wounds, protection from elements. Oh my god. Summon monster 3, cure critical wounds, freedom of movement, inflict critical wounds, poison, and summon monster 4. Now, the Blackguard, in its defense, no. But in its defense, it does have a larger spell pool than that, because for some pathetic reason, Wizards of the Coast kept trying to add on to it. The keyword is tried.
They wanted to make it seem less like a joke.
They also get Aura of Despair, which is kind of like the Aura of Justice that a Paladin has. Command Undead. When they reach 3rd level, you gain the supernatural ability to command and rebuke undead. Commands undead like a cleric of 2 levels lower rather than 3 levels lower, but that's not going to fucking help.
Sneak attack!
Because you're going to be sneaky.
In heavy armor, yes.
Yeah.
That's... Now there are some...
My Blackguard's going to play... I'm going no clothing whatsoever.
You only get 3d6 sneak attack die, by the way. So you can sneak attack?
A little. Oh, corrupt weapon.
Blackguards have the access to a special spell, Corrupt Weapon, which is the opposing counterpart of Blessed Weapon. Basically, instead of Blessing Weapon, you get Corrupt Weapon. Corrupt Weapon makes a weapon more effective against good foes, basically. So, Fallen Paladins, Blackguard, this is kind of the big gimmick about Blackguards. Blackguards who have levels in Paladin, that is to say, are now ex-Paladins, gain extra abilities the more levels of Paladins they have. Those who have tasted the light of goodness and justice and turned away makes the foulest villains. Are you sure it's not just because of the fact that they already were channeling a divine power and just can apply their teachings now for evil? Whatever. They're the foulest villains. A fallen paladin who becomes a Blackguard gains all of the following abilities that apply, according to the number of paladin levels they have. If you have 1 to 2 levels of paladin, you gain Smite Good once a day. This is including the ability they get earlier, which is Smite Good once a day, and so that means you get up to another level of Smite Good. If you are a level 3 or 4 paladin, Lay on Hands. Once per day, the paladin can use their supernatural ability to cure themselves or their fiendish servants for damage equal to their charisma bonus times the level. Even homebrewing, that's still very kind of bad. Basically, in our group, we homebrew Lay on Hands to do double, just to kind of give the paladin the ability to be a kind of like a healer in clutch if needed.
Sneak attack damage increases by 1d6 if you are a level 5 to 6 paladin.
And you get 2 more smites. Makes me miss 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 is fun. It's before little things like it's before all the little silly things. Let's see.
Fiendish Summoning. Once per day, the Blackguard can use a Summon Monster 1 spell, but only for evil things.
Reminder, you're several levels ahead, already there, and you already get Summon Monster 1 as like your fucking level 1 spell.
Level 9 to 10. Undead companions. In addition to Fiendish Servant, the
That's like-
Blackguard
that's right.
gains a...
Sorry, I accidentally turned off my microphone. I was saying that trying to imagine how many levels character levels you must have in order to get a once-a-day spell-like ability of Summon Monster 1 of all things. And a heavily restricted one that only lets you pick the evil options, not any of the neutral options that you can still technically pick as an evil character.
No, you don't understand. It's so useful as a level 9 or 12
Oh,
Blackguard.
and come on. We gotta talk about the undead companion. That can't be turned. Woo!
Oh, and it's a skeleton or a zombie, both of which are absolute fucking garbage.
Hey, it doesn't say what kind of skeleton, just medium-sized.
I once abused that when the short time I played a Blackguard. Like, hey, they didn't say what type of skeleton or zombie it was.
It's just medium-sized. Just medium-sized.
It's rules as intended.
And finally, if for some reason you dropped out of Paladin at 11th level or more, you gain favored by the dark deities.
God,
Blah 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 fluff fluff.
I
fluff.
just realized a great way. I found a point for the Blackguard. Okay, so hear me out, guys. You're doing your epic campaign, right? And you're like approaching level 19 or 20, like right before you enter epic. You then proceed to nuke the campaign, no survivors, by just deciding all of a sudden to fall and become a fucking Blackguard.
Now, you see, if you drop at this level, then you convert all your Paladin levels to Blackguard levels. And
I
have
know.
a special little character thing.
The idea is you immediately choose to become far worse, so that your party's guaranteed to die.
No. Even better, you sneak attack the wizard in the back.
Yeah, even though you wouldn't be there. You don't understand. It's genius. It's genius.
This class is made for paladins that in the final moment decide to just kill all their companions for no reason.
And even then, they still lose.
This sounds like the class you would play if you want to beat you want to beat you want to get a TG story out there just to.
To give you an idea, it's a slightly more useful psionic sandwich.
Well,
Yeah, looking at this, you gain fucking nothing except some strength bonuses and some other this is pointless. This is really oh, by the way, I was looking at the Fiendish Servant. It's not even that. I thought you were at least getting some stat bonuses. No, this is your Fiendish Servant. Oof.
Yeah, what you get instead of a mount.
I should point out it's overall worse than a mount. In order to get even a heavy warhorse instead of a normal horse, you have to take a non-core feat called Improved Fiendish Servant.
Yeah, because the Fiendish Servant isn't a mirror.
Yeah, it's like the weird combination of an animal companion familiar or much weaker special amount, only that it sucks over all three of them due to how little it progresses.
And on top of that, besides not progressing too much, it doesn't even get that great of a selection like Blood Bond. They just get a bonus on attack rolls and saves if it witnesses the Blackguard being threatened. And spell resistance, it's that spell resistance is okay-ish, but for what monster it dies.
Yeah. Since you can technically convert it, you can theoretically get spell resistance 24 at max, but why?
And the biggest problem is that a Blackguard, even with Paladin levels, is just worse in every way. Its spell loadout is worse. Why? Like for example, those level 1 spells they listed, I can if you go outside of core, because hey, Blackguard got expanded, I can be unfair too. Like, it doesn't have an equivalent like Silverbeard, which, while goofy, does give you a very nice sacred bonus to your AC, like +2. And it allows you to negotiate with dwarves better, because you have a big poofy Silverbeard guarding you.
Oh. I just went to the next page, and because we're almost done with this horrible class, and we're moving on to a slightly better one, Dragon Disciple.
No, actually, I'd say Dragon Disciple's worse. But anyway, Blackguard. You know,
Garbage.
I'm on the fence between calling it playable and garbage.
It's
I'm in garbage. I'm in garbage, honestly.
It's
garbage.
I mean, it's playable. It's playable if the meta is that you want to fuck the game up at the very end.
That's admittedly like half the reason I'm upping in my head a little higher than normal. Yeah, it's garbage. It's not horrible garbage, but especially since it became obsolete with things like Bone Knights and Greyguard, why would you play it?
Give me an idea. The only reason why I was able to play Blackguard is that I entered the campaign partway through when they were like level 15.
That would do it.
Because normally tried to start one as a normal paladin if you want all the fancy extra abilities.
Yeah, don't you have a rough journey when you're a fallen paladin for a while?
Well, yeah, you can gain more levels in paladin, which means you have to, at some point, right before you want to become Blackguard, do something that causes you to fall. Like, oh, I'm a Blackguard now.
Like I said, that's why I debated a little bit, because imagine the ultimate, like, 360 no-scope genius move of just standing next to the wizard when you're about to kill Asglagor the Infinite, the Eternal Warlord that's been raging across the lands for hundreds of years. You're about to face this evil guy, and then you just immediately yeet the wizard next to you with the coup de grace fucking smite.
Nothing personnel, kid.
I just murdered someone. I guess I'll be a Blackguard now.
No, I murdered my best friend. I'm a Blackguard now. I must serve the Eternal Warlord that killed my village.
Oh my god.
So that's why I was arguing for a bit, because it is bad. It's actually not as bad as I remember, but it's still a downgrade in every way.
Oh yeah.
You're not shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting yourself in the knee.
I would say you're shooting yourself like in the big toe.
No, you're at least shooting yourself in the foot.
But if you shoot yourself in the wall,
Mainly
the
because
foot to play the wall,
you lose the mount.
But if you shoot yourself in the foot to play the long, big dumb game, then that's a winner move right there.
Also, do this into context that we're doing this. I'm doing this in the context of you're starting, like you choose this in the middle of a campaign.
The problem is that with the things like the cross-class links and Pride, you pretty much need to plan this out beforehand.
Oh, you're planning this around. You're planning to do a big...
It's like the psionic sandwich, though. You know, where you plan and wait. What was it? As an egoist, Diopsid? You plan for 20
either that
levels,
or for some goddamn reason you're supposed to go rogue. Either that or you're a paladin rogue mix.
See, that's the most cursed option, but I think the best option is to wait until you're about to finish the game, and then on the last session pull the big gay, like you would if you were doing the psionic sandwich.
You reveal to your GM that you've made a new character sheet for the same character.
No. You made the character sheet years ago during the campaign, just for this moment.
And you've been updating it ever since then.
And even despite the comedy value, it's still garbage. I'm not mad at it like I am the Archmage.
The funny thing is that I did actually use the Fiendish Summoning once when I played Blackguard. I just summoned a shitty centipede in order to be fodder with we were running away.
Hey, you're proving why I'm not mad at the Blackguard. Yeah, it's garbage. I wouldn't recommend playing it, but you know.
I still think the best thing I did is when we framed Gnomish Baker for being a necromancer.
That's great. So anyway, from bad to worse, here's the worst fucking. No, I can't say worse because there's a couple others that actually rival it in this book. God damn it.
Oh yeah, like the next one after that.
So up next is a double dose of pain. The Dragon Disciple, also known as the What the Fuck class.
This is the class that I don't think anyone knew what they were doing when they made this.
So the best way to describe it is, you know those very embarrassing otherkin? Imagine if one had sorcerer powers, or just, had a little bit of ancestral DNA with the lizard people.
But I want to be with the lizards.
So the Dragon Disciple, the best way to describe it is reject humanity, return to reptile.
Look at that image. Look at that image.
I like the look on her face. She just looks.
She realized she destroyed her character.
I fucked my build.
So-
Why is she kneading that pile of chocolate pudding with her feet?
Because that's the way. Because she's in the pudding dimension and must
Well,
do
no, you
so.
don't
Fair enough.
understand. You need the probiotics of the fungus on her feet to make the chocolate taste better.
Okay, now anyway, let's look at the criteria. Any non-dragon. So most
So
things.
that mean Al Yen can't become a Dragon Disciple. I'm sorry.
Why
man.
would he want to? Why would he want to be? That's the.
Knowledge Arcana 8, so this is definitely a pure spellcaster.
I would say sorcerer, because the whole logic around sorcerers are
Yep.
they're supposed to gain their powers because, like, a long time ago, one of their ancestors decided to fuck a dragon or another magical beast. Like, they had a romp, and then somehow, life found a way, and
Anyway,
language.
you have to have the language of Draconic.
Which, hey, if
Also,
you're
unfortunately,
a
this
caster,
means-
you probably have it.
I just realized this unfortunately means, as a Dragon Disciple, you cannot be a kobold.
Which is
Oh,
stupid.
yeah.
Which is stupid.
Also, I just
Sad.
noticed this.
That's actually
This thing has
sad.
hit die 12. Hit die 12.
I just pointed out that kobolds are reptilian humanoids, not dragons.
That is.
Oh,
So the
never
kobolds
mind.
can fulfill their dream.
Yeah, but I also just noticed this thing has a hit die of 12. Why does this thing have a barbarian's hit die?
Well, you'll see. The biggest problem with this class is it doesn't know what it wants to do.
Also,
it
you
kind
must.
of picks and chooses from classes without understanding.
A ability to cast are so spontaneous caster. So this definitely was meant for a sorcerer.
I mean, they're literally exploiting that. In backstory, sorcerers often have a little bit of dragon blood or just other creature blood. So the class skills you get include, concentration, craft, diplomacy, escape artist, gather information, knowledge, all skills. So you become a skill monkey too for some reason.
But the problem with that is, look, 2+ int modifier.
Good fucking
Yeah.
luck, asshole.
I mean, what's the point in giving you all those skills if you,
It's
if
even
you don't
funnier
even
if you think about it, because remember, you're playing from a sorcerer, so your casting stat is not your int; it is your charisma.
Which is,
At the very least, you should be getting at least 4+ int.
we're like I said, we're not talking how to fix this class.
You can't you can't fix it. I'm trying to come up with ways to make it only somewhat less garbage. Actually, the best way to make it not garbage is to just remove it from the book so it never existed.
Oh, also, by the way, in other bad things, this class doesn't advance your casting. Instead, it gives you bonus spells.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Notice that it's a 10 level prestige class. Now, remember, the way this series works is we're not doing 1 level dip bullshit. No, when you pick this class, you gotta fucking commit, asshole.
God.
Yeah, you're stuck forever using. Let's see, sorcerers progress slower than wizards do. So, are they at 5th level or 6th or 4th level
5th.
still? Okay, so they at least get 5th level, barely.
Oof, that's a big oof.
Remember, you have to start as a sorcerer.
Wait, you do?
Yeah,
Yep.
you have to be a spontaneous caster of some sort.
Oh yeah, right.
And you have to have a high knowledge arcana, so it's best. So think about it like this. You're starting as a sorcerer, and then you decide you want to make him the biggest goddamn otaku ever. Obsessed with dragons. Like, we're talking Ken-sama level delusion here.
Well, to be fair, that's exactly. I've actually played with a guy who went with Dragon Disciple. He was a kobold that wanted to be a real dragon. He had templates and other dumb stuff. In order to make it there, he knew Dragonics 3 times over. His main goal was to find a wizard to pay him to cast Shape Change on him, to turn him into a dragon, and then get that permanence.
You know, that's actually cute, though. See, it's cute when a kobold does it. It's not when a human does it. Not at all.
Or an elf. No. I just gotta imagine. I can see it. A gnome.
The gnome who dreamed of being a dragon one day.
Witness,
Okay,
he says, witness me.
You also realize this means that at some point a dragon fucked a gnome.
That's embarrassing.
I don't know what it is, but no one in this group likes gnomes.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
to me. The problem is they kind of fill that weird role between like halflings and dwarves in my head. Like they fill this weird niche. It's like the Edsel of graces.
Ugh.
It's like the Ford Edsel
I was going
of
to see them as
races.
garden gnomes. Whenever I think of gnome, I'll always just think of garden gnome and nothing else.
It's sad
Oh,
too
yeah.
because honestly, I would play a gnome before I'd play a half elf. But the thing is, half elves kind of appeal more to me, even though they're garbage, just mechanics wise.
Yeah.
Like sadly, it'd be a tie. You know, one of these days I might make a bucket list where I just play the worst fucking character I can think of, which is a half elf samurai, who then falls and becomes a ronin. One of these days I will make what I call garbage quest, where you know that awful idea you never want to do because you know it's gonna be unfun.
Yeah.
That's the purpose, and the enemies you're fighting are basically similarly gimped.
But anyway, let's not keep doing. Natural armor increases.
As for the
Oh,
bonus
boy.
spell, they just they gain bonus spells. They can be added to any level of spells the disciple already has the ability to cast. So you gain a larger spell list, but the problem is your spell slots don't increase either.
The only way I could see this possibly working, and I put this in the biggest fucking air quotes, working is that you're playing an epic game. But then why would you choose this as one of the epic classes you're running?
So as for natural armor increase, since you mentioned it, Greg, yep, you do gain armor, and it gets up to +3.
7th level.
Do you know what Abdul could have done if he decided to list it as a spell that he learned? I cast mage armor.
Mage armor.
+4.
You know what you can do?
Well, to
And
be
that
fair,
adds to your touch. That adds to touch.
well, to be fair, the mage armor would stack with the natural armor bonus the class gives.
Mm-hmm.
You know what also stacks with that bonus? Studded leather.
Actually, mage armor specifically gives an armor bonus.
Anyway, claw and bite. Your sorcerer gains the ability to use melee combat.
Remember, sorcerers start at, I think it's a D4 like wizard, or am
D4,
I wrong?
D4,
I wanted to
D4.
make sure.
They have the same chassis as a wizard.
So yeah, at second level, you just run into combat because you magically gained like 2 levels worth of hit die. You think, oh yeah, I'm Billy Badass. I'm gonna fuck this thing's up.
And then you're gonna hurt them with your probably negative strength modifier.
And then Urgrash Bloody Claws just fucking rips your chest open. The great bugbear chieftain. He rips your chest open, pulls out your heart to let the red water come out.
Oh, but congratulations! Congratulations! You can take the multi-attack feat now.
Yeah, because that's so useful. By the way, keep in mind that your bite and claw damage is not very good either.
Nope.
It's so bad my chair groaned in pain.
May I make a suggestion? I think that we should stop at the halfway point in terms of classes, which would be the Dwarven Defender, because it's
getting late.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's at least get to the Dwarven Defender at least.
Yeah.
Because that's another special one.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna do this a bit quicker then. Ability boosts. Whoop-de fucking do! You gain some strength bonuses.
You know what also gives you those bonuses you can include? If you casted Bull Strength and then Animalism.
Or, just got some magic items.
Yeah?
Also, remember, you're going into this as a sorcerer, so if you want to be a competent sorcerer, you probably dump strength. So all these bonuses are just going to bring you to a strength bonus combined of probably 12. Or 14.
If you're lucky, 14.
Yeah. If you weren't, for some reason, didn't need this dump strength.
And
you get a breath weapon.
Doesn't even do anything. Ah, yes, the breath weapon.
Oh
The
boy.
thing, the highlight of the class, where depending on your draconic ancestry, you get a cone. You get a cone, a line, a cone or a line.
And it's based on your standard elemental damage. Basically, what dragon heritage you decide to exploit determines it. Like if you're a black dragon's ancestry, you get a line of acid. If it's white, you get a cone of cold.
Yep.
But the problem I have with it is the piddly amount of damage that you do.
And range.
I mean, at the very least, it should be the damage should scale to the class level.
Also, remember it's only once a day.
Like I said, I'd be fine if it was once a. It should be if the damage is that piddly. The problem with that is that dragons can reuse their breath weapon multiple times a day. They just need to recharge it, and the damage is sizable.
Well, too bad.
Yeah, you don't
blind
get that.
sense.
You get blind sense.
Well, it's literally a feat. I think this has literally become a feat. So
yeah, and you can casually cast a spell too.
Yeah, at 10th level, the range increases to 60 feet, not by 60 feet.
So it goes from mediocre to normal, and you could have gotten that ages ago. Hey, but don't worry, you get wings, which
you can fly now with average mobility.
Fly now.
You fly now. But the thing is, if you would have taken magic, you could have gotten some way to fly.
Fly.
Did you know how to fly at like level 1 or something? Because isn't flight like a really early level thing you can do?
Third level.
Yeah, third level.
So you can fly before you
took
the feat. Wow.
Yeah, and speaking to get into something, at 10th level you gain the draconic template, half dragon template. Woo! And your breath weapon increases, and you get more strength and charisma, and you're so much cooler now. You're kind of like a dragon. That's it. The class is over.
Then you also eat a shit ton of level adjustment.
Not only that, but you're stuck with fifth level spells, by the way.
The only way
it's over now, by the way. Yeah, the class is over.
This class is garbage for the for many reasons, but principal being it didn't know what it wanted to do.
I'm gonna call this entertainingly bad, unlike the art unlike some of the other things we're going to be seeing or have seen, where it was just like, why? I'm just kind of laughing reading this.
Yeah, this is more entertaining, but it's still like
bad. Oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's still like True Neighbor.
Ooh, damn!
No, I wouldn't put it that bad.
Maybe high end, kind of in between, like borderline. Like, because you originally rated this True Neighbor.
So
like,
I'm of the opinion, because I think you guys are being too kind on it. I'm rating this True Namer because literally no class I can think of would benefit from entering it, and in fact, it would destroy them.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, like the Star Search is the easiest.
It's the one that they expect you to join. It destroys your character as a sorcerer. You're permanently stuck with 5th level spells, and yeah, you get more spell loadout, but you're stuck at 5th level spells. Your slots don't expand. And it boosts your fighting prowess, which you're not designed to fight. God help you if you tried to pick anything else. I cannot think of a role I can't think of a way for this to advance naturally. It is just, it makes you objectively worse. I think even taking a dip in it makes you worse.
I think they spun this off into like its own class, and that's much better. Yeah, as the prestige class, this is shit. Don't take it.
Yeah, this is True Neighbor.
Okay, wait, Duelist. Unguard, my friends.
Oh,
Attention,
no.
Duelists! You
Unguard, my lady.
This one.
This one does not.
Duelist, you suck.
So the Duelist is okay, so the best way to describe the Duelist is, if you've ever heard of the Swashbuckler class, that's what this piece of shit wishes it was. So, Duelist. They're sometimes known as Swashbucklers, fuck you. They're most often fighter or rangers. Even fighters would do worse if they entered this fucking class.
And it says an intelligent fighter, quote unquote.
Intelligence fighter, pick one. So anyway, to qualify to become a duelist, you have to fulfill the following: base attack +6, fair enough. Perform 3 ranks. Remember, this is a martial class. They do not get perform. Tumble 5
So
ranks.
you've got to like
Keep that in mind.
don't have that either.
Dodge, pretty crap. That's a crap feat.
You
Mobility.
can get that as a fighter feat at least. At least you can get all this as fighter feats, if nothing else.
Yeah, but then you have to do the perform and tumble. Mobility, also not very good. Weapon finesse, situational, and it's only really good if you're going for a dex build.
Which if you're taking this, you should. But
I want to go for a physical. I want to go for a brute force duelist.
So, fun fact: you get a wider class skill, like you evolve as a fighter in terms of skills, but you still don't get diplomacy. You get bluff, but not diplomacy. You also lose intimidate, so you're still pretty much piss useless there. There is you get what's called canny defense. So this is the bread and butter of the duelist, and this is why the average reaction of a duelist being a duelist is to just get mulched. Canny defense. When not wearing armor or using a shield, a duelist adds 1 point of intelligence bonus, if any, per duelist class level to their dexterity bonus to modify armor class.
so in other words, to even qualify as a changer, you have to have 18 int as a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, like intelligence. I like how they
I could-
say if
I could-
any,
I
if
could
any.
I could understand if it was I could understand if they were wearing light armor or they had nothing more than a buckler as far as the shield going.
No,
It's like the
keep
monk's
going.
wisdom bonus, but worse.
Keep going. You missed a very important detail. It's 1 point to your AC per duelist level. So at level 1, you only add a +1. Level 2, +2. Level 3, +3. And that's if you have the intelligence bonus. To actually make this worth a shit, you'd have to have an intelligence bonus of at least +6. Which,
As a fighter.
yeah.
Now, if it was 1 point of intelligence, if it was 1 point of AC per intelligence bonus per level, then you could have Then you could play this class and have a retardedly high amount of AC.
Which
But
would be
no.
unfair. I
It
would
would be-
probably I would probably have it be, if I was gonna do this duelist, I would probably just do what they eventually did with stuff like the oh god. This class is so bad I'm actually forgetting my Tome of Battle classes.
Sword Sage?
No, kind of the other one, the not Crusader.
Warblade.
Warblade. Warblade, you know how it uses its intelligence to add to damage and to improve its crit threat range?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would use that. I would use a system similar to that. Anyway, canny defense. So if you're buck ass naked, and you magically have an intelligence of at least I don't know, like 30, this might be worth it.
Also, this duelist lies.
But
He's
if
wearing
you're-
leather armor.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
We're at
like,
another great aspect of the duelist. They're expecting your second hand to be completely free of anything.
Oh yeah, 2-weapon fighting, the worst form of fighting.
No,
So
no, not even that. As in one weapon empty, the other one with a one-handed weapon.
You can't even two-hand.
you know it's even stupider. By the way, if you're caught flat-footed, you don't have the you don't have the canny defense.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
you're
next
even
up,
more
improved
fucked by
reaction. +2 to initiative. Congrats. You're worse than improve initiative defeat.
that. No, don't worry. At 8th level, you get basically improve initiative feat. And
This
it does
bonus
stack
stacks
with it.
Woo.
Don't you want to have a +20? Don't you want to have like a +50 to your initiative, even as you die like a frog
Going
in a
first
blender?
doesn't matter if you do shit. If you can't do shit.
Haha! I have cut you with my blade, Rignar. Rignar smash! Pfft.
If anything, it might be better sometimes to go second because the enemy rubs up to you and then you can just stand there and full attack them.
So don't worry, they also get enhanced mobility where you're buck ass naked and not using a shield. You gain an additional +4 bonus to AC against attacks of opportunity.
So you can run buck ass naked past people trying to swipe at you.
Yeah, I'm just seeing-
with your crap AC.
Grace. A duelist gains a +2 competence bonus on all reflex saving throws. Only if they're naked and not using a shield.
God.
Precise strike. 5th level. Gain the ability with a light or one-handed piercing weapon. So you can't even use a scimitar.
No, you gotta use a fucking rapier, dude.
Only a rapier or a dagger.
I gotta channel my inner three musketeers.
You deal 1d6 more damage. It's like a worse sneak attack.
Well, no, it's like it's like a oh, you have to make a precise strike, so you have to sneak it. God, and it only works against living creatures with discernible anatomies. Do they have to be flat-footed? It doesn't say
It
they
doesn't
have to
say
be
that.
flat-footed, so at least you don't have to worry about flanking with this shit.
But just wearing some armor, some certain types of armor prevents it.
Yeah. You also get
but
acrobatic charge.
the max you get though is 2d6, where a rogue can get up to like 8d6, right? Or something
Yeah,
like that?
and you know what the
10d6?
Arcane Trickster can do? He could do that with Scorching Ray, which is beautiful.
Acrobatic charge. You charge over difficult terrain.
The Swashbuckler actually eventually took this and used it for itself.
You still need to make the checks though. You can't just do it. Elaborate parry. If you go total defense or fight defensively, +1 dodge bonus AC for every level.
And then you can
And
don't
deflect
worry. You
arrow.
also remember arrow catch, that monk ability.
No one uses ever.
Not even I used it when I played a monk.
Because it never came up.
No, it came up a few times. It's just, why would I pick that fucking feat?
This is
When you can use deflect arrow.
I used
as
slow
like a monk.
fall before I used arrow catch.
Oh yeah, another great thing to rub on this. This class only has one good save in its reflex.
Yeah, and on top of that, it doesn't even have the fucking audacity to give you a capstone.
I think we can all rate this at least garbage.
garbage.
I originally
I'd
rated
rather
this-
play a fighter. I can at least do something better with a fighter.
Oof.
The way I see it,
Ooh.
originally I would have probably said True Namer because it just makes any martial that plays it worse. But I don't think it quite reaches that. Not anymore. It's close. It's a low garbage. It's basically at the bottom of the dumpster where all the muck is. But it didn't go through the hole in the dumpster, like Dragon Disciple did for me. It's close, though. It's like right on the edge of that hole. The only reason I'm not rating it harder is, in a hypothetical, if you're going for a pure dex build, it's not... Actually, it is fucking horseshit, but it's...
Less.
It doesn't
I can see,
completely
I can
hinder
see what,
you.
I can see where they're trying to go with that, but just the fact that you can't wear armor just really just doesn't do anything.
The biggest
well.
fault with the Duelist is that there's a class called the Swashbuckler that does what the Duelist does, but better in every
Better.
way.
Yeah.
And it
Anyway.
came out pretty early. I think it was in the first expansion book.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those classes where it's just obsolete. It's just dated.
It's not even obsolete. The best way to describe it is it's like the HMS Polyphemus. The basic concept was obsolete before they even wrote it down.
Anyway, we think we can at least rate this in the garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah, it's
It's
garbage.
low
Right.
garbage for me, but it's garbage.
Yeah, and for this final class, let's let the Diopsid do it since he has the most personal experience with it.
Yes,
Go ahead.
the Dwarven Defender. The Dwarven Defender, well, it exists. It requires you to be a dwarf, as the name implies, a lawful dwarf, because stereotypes. You must have a rather high base attack bonus of +7, and then 3 really, really shitty feats in dodge, endurance, and toughness.
God, getting toughness. Oh.
Gotta get that 3 extra HP.
Endurance is also not very good.
Yeah, the rule endurance really is only basically a prerequisite for other better feats. That's pretty much it. And even then, those feats aren't that good either.
At least point blank shot has situational value. And as for oh my god, the skill list you get is so dead.
Endurance has one good. It's steadfast determination, the thing you always should take as a barbarian, so you don't rage and murder all your party members.
Well, no, you got the look at the class skills you get as a Dwarven Defender. You get a craft, listen, sense, motive, and spot. That's all you get. That's all you know.
Wow, this is worse than fighter.
This is all you know.
And
Yeah.
you don't even get fit. You don't even get jump.
Well, yeah, because Dwarven Defenders are about staying in one place. Of course, they wouldn't get any movement-based skills.
Can't jump.
Yeah.
Can't jump. Can't jump. Mac Daddy will make you stand still. Stand still. Stand still.
Yeah, you're literally just a lump. Lumps don't jump. They don't tumble.
You stand. You stand in a hallway that no one can flank you from, and you stand
They
there
don't
forever.
even get something like intimidate, so they can look there, sit there looking scary. That's too much
Yeah,
mental
why?
effort.
What? Yeah, you're right. Why don't they get intimidated?
At least give them like intimidate or something.
But no, anyway.
Instead, they get sense motive to make sure that the other guy's just faking trying to be scary.
Like seriously, like you can't do anything out of combat.
I just realized. Wait, are these guys the equivalent of the guards that stand next to Buckingham Palace, never making an expression?
That actually
Yeah.
actually is what I think they were based on. But come on, look at all the great class features you get. Oh wait, Diopsid, you explained this as a trap. How is this a trap?
Well, oh look, I can play a defensive class, but defensive class really don't function well in 3.5 because there's one thing that is required for this to work, and that is aggro, which while exists in MMOs, is not something that really exists in a tabletop game, especially since even if a DM throws them a bone every once in a while, to get boring if that's all they ever do is have all the enemies attack the Dwarven Defender while the rest of the party just sits there, especially since the Dwarven Defender works best in hallways.
Yeah, I think the only class that does aggro is like Jester.
Yeah, and it's squishy as hell.
Yeah, like it does get some stuff like some dodgy stuff, but like that's really the only class I can think of that does aggro.
So if I was a hideous goblin, right, with the hideous goblin that just jitters to itself in the hallways, right, and I saw a Dwarven Defender and like some other dudes, you know who I'd probably hit first? The one that looks the one that looks like the least effort to kill. I'm a weak, cowardly, stupid goblin, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't I go for the fat fuck in the robe rather than the dude bedecked in armor?
But you see, he's just standing there in a hallway that you can't walk past. That's his purpose in life. You could replace him with a wall, and your job would be done better.
So what you're saying is I just get some of my boys and I just get a boulder and I start rolling it towards him slowly until it crushes him.
Yeah, or like even if he is in front of like the squishy guy, like couldn't you just go around him? He's like just a dwarf.
And that's the big problem with this build. Also, the big thing is like here's another problem. The way it works is it has what's called a defensive stance, just to give a little bit of crunch for those interested. They gain a bonus to strength, a bonus to constitution, giving them a bunch of temporary HP. They get resistance bonuses to save, and a massive dodge bonus. The problem is, once you're in that stance, you can't move.
Let's also not forget the innate. But we can't forget the innate AC bonus you get as just going into this class.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
get that too.
The thing is that
Whoa.
if you leave your stance, you take a penalty to attack rolls.
You know how after a barbarian rages they get winded? At least early barbarians get winded.
You get that from moving.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is stand in your place and just do attacks at people who come close to you and not move.
Meanwhile, I'm okay. To go back to the horrible stupid monster goblins that like, if he can't move, wouldn't you just slowly roll a boulder on him? Like, you know, the Austin Powers joke of like the steamroller towards the Dwarven Defender.
Nope, not moving. But
Alright,
you're
this
going
is
to
a-
die if you move. Nope, I'll be still.
I can tank it. I can tank it.
This is a class that is foiled by branching paths.
This is a class foiled by goblins just slowly pushing a rock towards them.
Rocks fall. Dwarven Defender dies.
This is a guy that's ruined by just entering a small room. His day is ruined if he can't walk down a straight line in a hallway that's 5 feet wide.
He's like, oh no, it's not a hallway. I'm boned.
Oh no, it's a 10-foot hallway. Now everyone can tumble past me and murder my friends.
Let's go on to more. Okay. Uncanny dodge.
Yeah, because the whole point of this thing is you're not supposed to move.
Trap sense.
Hey, remember when these were considered kind of mediocre?
Damage reduction. So you get DR3.
Which could be good, but you're not going to be hit often.
Then at level 10, DR6.
Oh my god!
But it can't actually. Yeah. So congratulations. You nullify all the damage of a short sword.
Or a dagger, or like, I don't know, a shuriken.
Or wait, they have a strength bonus. Looks like you're screwed now.
Oh,
Improved uncanny dodge. Can't be flanked anymore.
Oh no, they're tumbling past me and murdering the squishies. What do I do? Seriously?
Well, at least he can't sneak attack me. Finally, mobile defense. You can turn. You can't really move, but you can take a 5-foot step per round without just dropping dead and vomiting.
You can move slower than a gelatinous cube now.
You can slowly advance or retreat.
You can inchworm. It's like playing Quap all over again. You're just inchworming your way.
Okay, that's it. Also, that's it. The class is over. You get a +4 AC bonus by level 10, and you get good saves in Will and Forts, and it's a full BAB. But no, this class is a trap.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I can just sit down and do nothing and play the game. It's perfect. Hey guys, it's me, Biggie. I'm calling you from the penitentiary cell. I'm in jail right now, and I need you guys to bail me out.
Oh no! Did you try playing a Blackguard again?
Well, let's just say there's a few bodies in the back, if you know what I mean. Forget you heard that, officer. But yes, I'm currently sitting here waiting for my execution, and I think I don't know where.
Don't worry, Don't worry, we have enough diamond dust to bring you back.
I'm gonna stop this shitty joke. I don't know where I'm going with this, but how you doing, y'all?
We're just wrapping up a live stream, dude. You're on live. Oh, did he run away?
No,
Possible.
I'm here.
Okay.
But yeah.
Congratulations, you showed up at the very end to just get to see our rating of the Dwarven Defender and
just
nothing
stepping
else.
over them or jumping. And yeah, you'll occasionally see the live studio because I like to look at the comments. It was just a pretty quiet night for you guys.
Yeah. I have to say this.
I don't know about you guys, but I think Dwarven Defender is good because if I'm in an open battlefield and if they charge me, then I've held the line, and therefore I've roleplayed a lot.
This class is beaten by a tumble check.
What if you what if you have like a whole line of Dwarven Defenders?
You know,
I
that
think
might
that's
be
the
the only
intention.
that might be the only time where it'd be kind of neat as an NPC encounter.
The only way this class is ever meant to be used is either in single narrow hallways where you physically cannot tumble around them, so you have to just fight them as is, and there are no boulders to roll down, or there's a wall line of them to where you have to start killing some of them.
So, What would you rate it, Nut?
Garbage.
Garbage.
I wouldn't call it True Namer because this class provides benefits technically.
Theoretically, it provides benefits. In theory, it provides benefits.
It's
Well,
if you ignore the shitty not rage, you in essence are a fighter without feats with uncanny dodge, with some bonus AC.
It does its job. If the job is like being a lump, it does a good job
You're more or
being a
less
lump.
a horrible. You're horrible if you ignore the its rage, which is actually worse. It actually hampers it. You're in essence a fighter with rogue abilities. Whoa.
For me,
Yep.
the basic concept almost works, but it doesn't have a way to resolve the rage tiredness that the barbarians eventually get.
It also gets DR6. DR6 is fine.
Like I said, it almost kind of works. It's just the best way to describe it is the blueprints look great. It's just the environment that it's forcibly shoved in doesn't work. It's like using one of the old monitors from the Civil War in open ocean. Like that's not what it's designed for, and it doesn't work for that particular area.
As I mentioned, it doesn't really get shit to deal with magic casters that deal damage.
Like I said, this is really just a fighter with some rogue abilities, and it's a defensive fighter with rogue abilities. If you ignore the more or less the ability that you should want from this class. In other words, if you want to go for this class, ignore its unique special ability.
The best way, actually, there's a class. Sorry, Biggie, since you're here, what do you want?
Well, I was going to say, I personally think this can all be alleviated if you just hire an NPC to wheel you around in a wheelbarrow. And now you're unstoppable.
I mean, that technically kind of works. Actually, there is a class that kind of does what the Dwarven Defender was supposed to do. It's a book way in the future called Tome of Battle. There is it's a specialist in what's called the Stone Dragon stance, which specializes in hitting really hard and kind of just being the lump in a way.
It's static, but if you're static, you're going to make them hurt.
Actually, you can move around a bit, and you actually punish people for trying to move past you. Like, you try tumbling, they can actually paralyze you by summoning lumps of rock to hit you.
Yeah, this is garbage, and like I'm gonna be honest. If the other classes didn't exist, I would call this the high garbage or low okay. But because other things exist now, this is just straight garbage.
Even back when this existed, I would rate it as not even quite playable, just garbage. But now it's just bog standard.
Yeah, okay. It's not even okay. It's playable. It's garbage, really.
I will say that before we wrap this up, I've mentioned in a previous video on this channel about a player who played a Dwarven Defender, did everything possible to lower their attack roll in order to boost AC. So they were a lump in a more literal manner than what most Dwarven Defenders normally are. They couldn't hit anything, but their AC was massive. But like I said, you can just go around it.
Like, to give you an idea, it doesn't even make sense because the AC, doesn't it go up by like basically 8 when you're in defensive stance and at max Dwarven Defender level?
With DR.
And on top of that, by this point, you should be bedecked in full plate, and at the very least, consider you could either do sword and board or just two-hand.
Well, in this case, you use the tower shield for another -2, and then use the feat that allows you to trade to hit bonuses to increase AC.
I know what that ability is, that feat. It's so situational. I think in some of my earliest fighter builds, not fighter builds, but like martial builds, I've picked it. I've never had to use it. So after the first couple of times I played a martial, I never picked it again, unless I needed it for another feat. So that's the Dwarven Defender. See, the magic about these kinds of books, and actually it's almost exactly like how I used to do the writings, is sometimes they're so big you can't actually fit everything in an episode. So on the next episode of Autistic Analysis, we'll continue on with the Eldritch Knight, which is a very odd duck. Also, one of the original ways to cheese the system.
It's fine.
I can't wait till we get to the samurai class. It's going to be great.
We're not there yet.
A foolish samurai warrior sought to become a samurai.
Instead of any of the number of classes he trained with.
Aku would have been easily defeated if he picked another class.
Barbarian
Aku-
would have been enough.
Aku was actually playing a dangerous gambit.
But Aku won because good is dumb.
And so the future is Aku. And I think with that, I think we can head off.
Good night.
Nighty night.
Good night, everyone.
Quick, you need to
Night,
post me
the 5 people who
$2,000
tuned in.
now.
Good night, 5 people